You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether tears have fallen from your eyes this past week, or gleeful laughter has spilled out of your smiling mouth.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you are feeling brave or brokenhearted, defiant or defeated, fearsome or fearful.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you have untold stories buried deep inside, or stories that have been forced beyond the edges of comfort.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you have made promises, broken promises, or are renewing your promises.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whatever is on your heart, however it is with your soul in this moment.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
In this space of welcome and acceptance, commitment and recommitment, of covenant and connection, let us find courage and strength together.
Oh my gosh, welcome back. Who's starting school next week? Oh, we got a lot of people. We got a lot of people sitting over here by yourself. Anyone else want to come forward? You're more than welcome, any ages. This is our Wonder Box. How many people have ever heard of a Wonder Box? Yes, well, usually there's something in the Wonder Box that gets us wondering about what's going on today in the service. Anyone want to open it? Yes. Oh, maybe next time. Okay, thank you. Oh, flip it right from the bottom. Perfect. Okay, let's now lift it up. What is that? Oh my gosh. What is in there? My phone. Who put my phone in there? You have one of these? And so this is a phone. And guess what is probably one of the most commonly used things we have on a phone? What do you think it is? What? A password, yes. Which is? No, just kidding. It's actually an app that we use. Not enough people talk as much on the phone. Some people text, but what's something we use it to do? Camera! How many of you use your camera? Oh my gosh, it's like what people would say. I bet it used to be, my predecessors would not have used an iPhone, but here we go. So when I push the little button, I can look out. Look at all these beautiful people. You know what a camera is kind of like? It's kind of like a window to the world. You look out, you see all these nice people. I'm not recording. Now I am. No, yeah. And it's a window to help you see the world, help you remember things like memories. Maybe you go on a hike and you see a cool bug or something and you want to take a picture, or you have a birthday party or something, or you just want to capture a moment or remember a face. The camera can be really helpful. Now, what happens if you accidentally hit this one button here? Oh! It turns around and it makes a selfie and you're like this and it's your best angle, right? And so when I do that, what does it become now? Not a window, but a mirror. Oh my gosh, how many of you take selfies? Know that term? You've heard of it. It's kind of a nice way if you don't have someone to take your picture. But sometimes when we're looking through the camera and we're taking pictures of the world, it's important to think about us and like how we're seeing the world. And I think there's something so interesting about those two sides of the camera, looking out and then the selfie looking back in. And sometimes when we look out into the world, we're just looking out and we're never really thinking about ourselves. We're just kind of out there in the world, but it takes two to take a picture. The subject and the object, but we also want you to feel like a subject and not an object. But you have the person taking the picture and the person receiving it. And so sometimes it's important to remember that. And then also sometimes we're only taking selfies. We're like this one or like different things, and we forget, oh my gosh, there's this whole world out there that we're connected to and engaged with. So somewhere between those two extremes of only looking at the world through the window and only looking at ourselves in the mirror, we find our lives. And we practice thinking about how we're going to live in this world, okay? So it's important to look in your mirror. It's important to look out the window. But together here in this community, we're going to practice doing a bit of both. Let's just do a quick little selfie of all of us. How does that sound? You guys want to stand right there? I'm going to do a little selfie. I'm going to turn around. All right, everyone smile. Where is everyone? Where are you kids? Here, get over there a little bit. There we go. Stand up. Go over there. Go on. All right, let me get we got to get wide angle. Here we go. All right, we'll do a couple. That's a keeper. You all look great. So I hear you're going to talk about superheroes this month. And so you guys are going to go off and talk about superheroes and learn about the superhero that's within you and all around you. So why don't we sing our children and youth out?
As UUs, we are always called to meet the moment. And what is the moment? The moment I see is one of great division among the people of our country and our earth. Our Constitution is disintegrating, a planet in crisis, a tension in our bodies that is so stressful, I wonder how long we can carry it. And the good news is a lot of people are waking up. People my age have experienced social crises many times. Civil rights movement, Vietnam, women's movement, LGBT movement, Me Too movement, BLM, queer rights, nationalism, and now fascism. Our UU experience has taught us to stick together to fight the latest ism. It has given us language and encouragement to boldly do what is needed, to lead with love, to take courageous action, to bring our skills, whatever they be, the values that brought us to UU and commitment to see and fight injustice, and now the courage to act. The cruelty to our immigrant neighbors is a great motivator for me. It creates a fierce urgency of now. So I'm working with local resistance groups, Columbus Community United, Bartholomew County Indivisible, and Rise Up. I'm reminded that this work comes in stages. We naturally get weary and sensitive and need to see that as part of the process. The destruction is coming at us fast and furious and relentlessly, and our bodies and spirits are worn down. We start to get gritchy with each other. It's always hard to keep a team running smoothly against adversity. We're human with egos and emotions to overcome. We have to know this is to be expected. We have to constantly step back and remember the cause and our passion that brought us together. We have to see each other's gifts and styles and recognize that we need those differences. We have to reconnect with each other. We have to give each other and ourselves grace to make mistakes and love each other through them. We have to check ourselves and come back together to fight the common enemy, injustice. We are made for this moment because we have the ability to reason. We have the strength of our history fighting injustice. We have the strength of numbers, which are growing. We have the urgency of now. We know the power of love and courage. We have history on our side and the arc of the moral universe. We can charge ahead together to create a world where everyone has what is needed. We are made for this moment. We are living through a time that demands our attention and requires our consistent action. People around the world are confronting wars, climate disasters, and economic inequity at unprecedented levels. Here in the United States, we faced an almost daily barrage of attacks and restrictions on the rights, bodies, and livelihood of people.
I'm often reminded of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote about the urgency of now. In his famous 1967 speech on Vietnam, Dr. King said, quote, "We are now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now. In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late."
People are aligning around their shared values and goals, recognizing that entrenched power structures in inequitable systems and institutions can no longer be part of the status quo. More and more people are acutely realizing that issues of justice, equality, and solidarity cannot be denied, dismissed, or delegated to others alone. These issues have become our business. They are everyone's responsibility. As a result, people are demanding action from the power holders, creating new ecosystems, and challenging status quo paradigms.
Being part of social change is one of the most important ways we can connect with each other at a time when society insists upon compartmentalizing us into silos of identity, thought, political alignment, and geography. When we engage in social change, we resist these silos and choose connection and solidarity. Together, we can change unfair and unjust systems, increase access and opportunity, share knowledge, celebrate and express joy, and create pathways to sharing power. So what do you think of that song we just sang? It sounded good. Y'all sounded good singing. I even heard maybe a few new choir members out there. I don't know. This song, however, is not one we have sung before, at least not together. In the 8 years since I started as your minister, I've not selected it on even one Sunday, nor has it been chosen when others have led services, as I can tell from my research. In fact, in my research, it's been over 10 years since you sang it as a congregation, which makes your beautiful sound all the more beautiful. So why did I pick it? Why today? Why now? Well, it was not to Hayes, Kyla, and Gabby on their first Sunday. Seriously, I don't think anybody or anything could faze them. But let me tell you why. Rank by rank, Again We Stand, number 358, holds a lot of meaning and memory for many Unitarian Universalist ministers and many congregations for about the past century or so. Now, this congregation is only 58 years, so you can see we might be on the younger side. Because while it may not be used as frequently here as some of the other songs we sing, for generations it was the gold standard for being chosen as the processional hymn for ordination and installation services for ministers. If you're not familiar, when a minister becomes ordained by a congregation, when they receive the title of reverend, or when they are installed to be the minister of a congregation, these special occasions typically begin with a procession where clergy and religious professionals walk in all dressed up like they're in Hogwarts, and they kind of sing collectively. They don't come in silence, they sing collectively with gusto, with all those gathered. It's quite the pomp and circumstance, so to speak, which you may have heard or felt when we sang it just now. And as you may get a hint of why it was, or has been, a popular choice for some time. Here's how it starts. Rank by rank, again we stand from the four winds, gathered hither. Loud the hallowed walls demand, whence we come, and how, and whither. From their stillness breaking clear, echoes wake to warn and cheer. Higher truth from saint and seer, call to us, assembled here. This song has, ironically, fallen out of favor a bit due to some of its language feeling ableist and also somewhat colonialist and imperialistic. You may have seen that in its name or lyrics, rhythm, and style. As a result, at my ordination and installation as your minister, we chose to sing number 298, Wake Now My Senses, which is another popular alternative today. Anyway, the point is that I think we are living in a time when the message of, and even more so the feeling evoked by rank is needed more than ever. You see, we are living through what feels like a cosmic battle between cruelty and kindness, between oppression and freedom. We are living in times that feel like they could have been conjured in the minds of Octavia Butler or George Orwell, in an era where we are being told that war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, and 2 + 2 = 5. The four winds we sung about refer not just to the storms of injustice and despair that swirl around us, but also those which have somehow brought us in from the storm this morning, that have somehow, yes, helped us find ourselves not alone, but together in this sanctuary, albeit perhaps a bit weary, a bit unsure, and with a healthy dose of worry for what is still to come. But just as the one receiving ordination, the ordinand, is not the first to come through the figurative doors of professional ministry, but are accompanied instead by a crowd of witnesses of their colleagues singing, and indeed a cloud of witnesses watching and accompanied with all those who have come before, so too is our gathering here today. Just as with that procession through time and place, like back in 2017, we here today can be reminded that we are not alone on our journey, but together in a one-of-a-kind arrangement of little sparks of the divine, each of you, a spark of light. So we somehow tap into our minds and hearts, to our subconscious, and perhaps through our memory, we continue singing. Hours, the years, memorial store, honored days and names we reckon, days of comrades gone before, lives that speak and deeds that beckon. From the dreaming of the night to the labors of the day shines their everlasting light, guiding us upon our way. Friends, I've titled this sermon, Meeting the Moment, Why We Were Made for Times Such as These. And thankfully, Brittany in the office doesn't give me a word limit for my titles, and she doesn't discourage subtitles, so that's great. In all seriousness, it is an allusion, though, to a few things I want to name. One, the title speaks to the theme this past June for the National Gathering of Unitarian Universalists at the General Assembly of the UUA. Meet the moment was the theme, and it sure feels like a theme for our days, not just this moment, but for the ever-emerging moments we face and will continue to face in this struggle for the soul of our nation. Perhaps that is a worthy call, to meet the moment. That feels at least like a good place to start. For what is it to meet the moment but to be willing to face the moment, to come face to face, and to be honest with ourselves and one another, with what is going on all around us. So not only do I believe we can and must meet the moment, that we need to face it, but as the subtitle suggests, I also believe we, all of us, were made for times such as these. Now I have to be honest, or confess, which, as St. John, that's Fisher, by the way, suggested last Sunday, can be good for the soul. And say that I chose that subtitle for a couple reasons. And one of those is because I was taught about 9 years ago a little trick of the trade for ministers when coming up with titles for your sermons. Just a brief aside I have to do. Before I moved to Columbus, I was in St. Paul, Minnesota, serving as intern minister at one of our largest UU congregations, Unity Church Unitarian, which, by the way, takes being a learning environment for interns very seriously. And during that year, because the Twin Cities are a hotbed for Unitarian Universalists and progressive movements alike, coincidence maybe, I was talking with the Reverend Meg Riley, who was at the time the senior minister of the Church of the Larger Fellowship. Meg actually just completed this year her 6-year term as co-moderator, which is another term for president, or in this case, co-president, of the UUA Board of Trustees. But back then, when I was but a wee intern, she gave me some advice. She gave me some good advice that a good title for a sermon is "For Such a Time as This." Just add water, or in this case, a topic, just before that phrase, like compassion for such a time as this, or social justice for such a time as this. I sent her a text this week to see if my memory was accurate about this somewhat necessary or unnecessary aside that I wanted to do. And she did say that she told me this, but to my embarrassment, as I'm sure some of, especially the more serious former Christians in the room, knows that it's not original to her, but from the book of Esther in the Hebrew Scriptures. And yes, indeed, I guess there is nothing new under the sun, but even so, there is still meaning in it to be found anew, especially in these circumstances we find ourselves. You see, I know that we can meet the moment. I know we can, because I've seen us face many challenges in the past. In fact, I have seen us grow stronger in the midst of adversity, such as building this current building when we were busting at the seams in our last building a quarter century ago, or moving to full-time ministry when we saw the benefit of investing our resources into expanding our staff, or more recently, responding to the seismic shifts we all faced during the global pandemic. Well, we are there again. We are here again. We've been here before, so to speak. Another moment to meet, to gather, to sing, to process in a way, and to consider how we will provide compassion and care to one another in a vulnerable world, how we will live out our shared values of justice and equity, pluralism and generosity, transformation and interdependence in a world where these can feel too often absent, all while placing love at the center of all we do. Or, in the words of our mission statement, now once more, we are asked to consider how we will collectively celebrate love and work for justice. Here's how I think we will get there. Together. We will get there together by turning to one another together and considering the gifts that we all bring to this community. Because did you know, you might not, that Unitarian Universalism celebrates the sacred diversity of every human life. And our living tradition calls us all to share those gifts together in community. When you come through those doors, we don't want you to check your differences or your rough edges or your difficult chapters in life at the door, but to bring it all with you into this community, because all of you is welcome here. How countercultural to the somewhat superficial and performative world in which we live. But of course, this is easier said than done. We need to be intentional about it together. We need to be thoughtful, and we need to be strategic. By strategic, I particularly mean that it is helpful to have some common language or frameworks for how we talk about what we are trying to do together. Sort of like having some shared tools to address the shared problems we face in our lives. At the 2025 General Assembly, as we mentioned, in Baltimore, the UUA announced this year's common read for congregations. Yes, we have like a common read every year that congregations can choose or not choose to engage. And this year, it's called Social Change Now, a guide for reflection and connection. Developed by Deepa Iyer in 2017, it is a profound and, more importantly, accessible text that guides individuals and communities to consider how we participate in the shaping of social change. And this, after all, is what I think we all seek, some change, some type of shift in society in the direction of our values being more integrated and uplifted in all that we do. That is, I think, part of what we seek. Ayer says that the work of justice, equality, and solidarity more and more have become our business, our responsibility. Likewise, people from all backgrounds are gathering together to develop new paradigms of what she refers to as new ecosystems. I love that imagery, thinking of it as new ecosystems for shaping change in the world. In our reading this morning, highlighting some of the words from the introduction from her book, we ended with a desire expressed to break down the silos in which we live, including the silos of our own identities, so that we can not only unravel unjust systems, but, quote, increase access and opportunity, share knowledge, celebrate and express joy, and create pathways to sharing power. We do this so that new ways of being can be birthed into the world. And so this book will be our guide this fall and along the journey ahead. We will come together to explore it more deeply this October and November with 3 workshops held after services. There'll be more information about this beginning October 5th. But now is the time to order your copy. It's okay if you're on your phones. No, just kidding. It is, though. To order your copy and begin engaging with it. It has all these prompts and ways to help you reflect with these evocative questions, to consider how you can participate in social change, including understanding your own gifts to community. Because one of the things I love about this text is that it allows us to understand that we can't work on fostering change in society unless we work on doing so within our own lives, within our own very being. And likewise, we can't explore ourselves without understanding the relationships that we are a part of, including those we nurture here at UUCCI. So there will be much more to come on this. The message today is that we can and are meeting the moment. As difficult and despairing as these times in which we live make us feel, we are choosing to celebrate love and work for justice. We are choosing to gather in community rather than isolate and insulate ourselves from the world. My friends, we were made for times such as these, times like those we have faced in the past, including those handed down to us by our religious forebears, spiritual mentors, and those moral exemplars that guide us throughout history. May we find courage, my friends, for the journey ahead. Yes, may we find moments of joy and celebration along the way, moments of rest. And may we not lose hope for the world that is to come. For we are connected in a living tradition of all those who processed before us, like those who will come behind us, singing with gusto and faith the words of our deepest longings into being. In other words, though the path be hard and long, still we strive in expectation. Join we now their ageless song, one with them in aspiration, one in name, in honor one. Guard we well the crown they won. What they dreamed be ours to do. Hope their hopes and seal them true. May it be so, and amen.